at the same time here in Vernon. 12 teams on the women's side playing round-robin pools. So this game out of Pool A, Pool B's already played. A number of the teams have already played 3 games. Everybody's at 2 games so far on the Pool A side. And I think there's 4 games on tap tonight total. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. So by the time everybody's off the ice tonight, they will be through their 3rd game of the round robin.
And how are those standings looking so far for these 2 teams at least?
Well, Wang sits at 2 and yeah, I've got that in front of me. Wang is sitting at 2-0, and Sasaki at pardon me, not Sasaki. It's the standings may not be correct on the.
Oh no!
Well, it's only showing me 12 teams and 2 pools, but it's not showing me Ogihara at all. Oh, pardon me. It's under Sasaki. Sasaki is skipping, but throwing the 3rd stones. Okay, so it's under Sasaki, and they are 1-1. Okay,
nice.
So really,
big game for both teams here.
Yeah, right? Big game. We were talking about it a little bit earlier this afternoon. We did a doubles game together, and it's the same thing here when you're dealing with small pools. You know, the difference between a triple knockout and a small pool, you always know where you stand with a triple knockout, because if you're still playing, you're still alive. But in these small pools, you start getting losses early. Now you have to, it's not just what you do, you have to look over your shoulder because you need some help. And it's just better if you take care of your own business early. So big game for Sasaki and really for Wang. This is a chance to start to separate herself from the pack in this pool and maybe get her ticket through to the playoffs booked early.
Absolutely.
Just peeking ahead at the playoff draw. So it's 6 teams that will make the playoffs.
And I know we were doing some Martinsville games earlier, and there was pretty much like 6 feet of curl on draws, lots of movement on hits. Seems to be quite the opposite here today, putting the broom almost in the middle of the rock there. They were doing that on the earlier shots as well. So it'll be interesting to see how that affects the gameplay and the strategy that these 2 teams employ.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I didn't see the first few shots myself. Ryan's running production. He didn't share the camera with me until he let me know, hey, they've started early. We're going to run the opening and get going. But it would have been nice to see what the draws are doing to the middle, because we saw Vernon. We talked about this afternoon as well. It's just the fluke of the draw that they're reversed. Last week, doubles were being played in Vernon while there was a men's event in Martinsville, and Martinsville looked a little straighter last week than it is this week, so he probably conditioned the rocks a little bit more aggressively. Vernon had lots of curl last week in the doubles. Open first end, the teams have continued to exchange hits right through to this final stone, and now Rui Wang with the last rock here in the first end of play will look to hit and roll out, try to maintain that last rock advantage into the second end.
For sure. And, that this is a simple shot, but, there's always a bit of pressure because you played the whole end just to building up to this moment. So, yeah, look at that ice they're taking. It's pretty much right on the rock.
Yeah, you have to think the shorter roll is toward the broom sideboard, so maybe she's got a little bit of a set plan for this intern.
Could be, yeah.
You do see a lot of these. Do you see a lot of these top players have learned how to? Yeah, this is not going to have much of a set to it.
Nope.
It might have been the plan. It didn't work out. She'll hit, roll to the other side of the 12-foot, but she's going to have to take her single here. We'll give them a 1-point lead, but Sasaki will have last rock when we come back for the second.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's Ice Pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
Gripper first.
Don't forget the brooms.
Yep, you got it. Yellow.
Come on up. Okay, well, what do you got? You got one, you got two, you got...
Just one more throw, please.
You make moments like these possible.
Second end just underway here. The call has come up for the tight center guard, and we just got a chance to see Wang step away from where she was holding the broom, so probably the middle of the 12-foot there. So they are expecting lots of movement towards the middle. And Ryan, for those viewers who weren't watching this afternoon, we did a game from the doubles in Martinsville, but we're talking about again, it's when these rocks get conditioned before an event starts and they're very aggressive. A lot of the movement happens after they start to slow down. So on a draw, you'll get tons of movement. But you saw last end when they're playing the hits, and even those hits to stay, they're putting the broom inside the edge of the rock. When you're throwing some extra weight, they will run nice and straight for you.
For sure. And I found it interesting just here. So on the intern draw, that guard that we just saw, they took ice middle 12. But for the draw on the other side here, they took inside the edge of the 8-foot. So, and this is running really, really straight. So it makes me.
But it's really, really heavy.
But that was about 2 to 3 feet of curl. So the sheet might be a bit tilted.
Might be the sheet, might be the teams. We'll have to keep an eye on that too.
For sure. Yeah.
I can remember some of the earlier, and you haven't seen it for a lot of years, but some of the first Chinese teams that came across, and I can only remember, I'm apologizing, but I can remember them by their English nicknames. You might remember Betty, which is what she was called. And their team was taking an extra 1.5 foot of ice for most teams just because of the way they released it. They could get rocks into places you just could not follow them.
Right. Yep.
But they all 4 through it the same. That's the way they trained to throw it, and it made them very dangerous in the draw game.
That's how you should strive as a team. Just makes it a whole lot easier. Figure things out, get the broom in the same spot, throw the same paths.
The other thing you will see that is for a lot of players, doesn't matter whether you're left or right-handed, the out turn will tend to run a little straighter, and this particular thrower, Yaku Matsusawa, I apologize if I got that mispronounced, but I'll work on it. Watching her set up in the hack, I have to think that her out turn is going to run very straight, and I'll touch on that when she throws next end. Ziki Dong looking to come around and sit. I think the call was corner frozen on the yellow if they could, or is she trying to come by it?
I think right on the corner there is what they're going for.
Might be plan B now and try to get around it. You sure don't want to rub off of it.
Caught in between.
Little rub, not bad. It didn't pop out into the open. That's what I would have been worried about.
You know what this looks like? Doubles.
Very much right now, yeah. Just the way the end is set up.
Or maybe that's just me been doing doubles games all day long.
I jumped back and forth a little bit last week, and I'll be doing it this weekend just because of I've booked on to do the games when my time is available. It's kind of fun to go back and forth a little bit, other than you have to keep track of the different sheet surfaces that we're playing on. But it's interesting to watch how different the strategy is in some places. And then we talked about it this afternoon in a game where we saw that tick shot played in from the corner guard, and that's a shot that started in doubles and has started to make its way into the 4-player game. I also know a few of there are a few top women's players here in Saskatchewan that Nancy Martin is one of them. I know I've heard her say it, and there's others, so I hate to just pick out one, but she's talked about how playing doubles has made her a better 4-player player.
Yeah, I can totally understand that.
I think I remember Carrie Anderson saying something about that too. They could always make the shots, but they didn't necessarily see them the same as some of the men they were playing with. And once they started to see them, they started to call them. And of course, they can make them. Ziki Dong with her second stone here in this second end, looking to angle tap the one she delivered on her first. Try to get it onto that shot stone. Boy, this is curling. Might not get by the guard. It doesn't.
And it leaves the blue guard kind of in front of those yellows too. If you make that blue double, so it could be in some trouble here.
Yeah, hard to make the blue double and roll anywhere though, so you're probably going to have to leave a double back. She thinks they can make a little bit of a roll to the outside. You should have to throw some weight to get much of a roll to the outside. Now, she could just jam it on the blue at the back of the 4 and be more worried about getting the shooter over a little bit. Boy, it's close.
That's a nice spot.
Yeah, that's actually a really good leave too, because by not rolling that second blue all the way out, when they try this double, look where the yellow's going to be going.
Right into it. Yeah, that's an awesome leave.
Really, either double, there's a chance she could jam a yellow over there. She could try the pocket double in the front, which I think is what they're playing, and the yellow is going to be going that way. She could play the just off the nose straight back too, and it's going to be going the same direction. She might have got caught in between the two of them. Just drives it by the stone at the back. Only gets 1. Now, if you could hit and roll under cover, you could sit 3, and the Christmas tree's already built in. The first 2 are already half buried.
Yeah, they're loading up the 8-foot here.
Yeah. Honoka Sasaki is the skip of the team, throws the third stones. Hirai Ojihara in the house, and I think she was checking over all the angles as to where they have to avoid hitting it to avoid any jams, but the call is to roll under. This is going to be close to a nose hit as well, though. Drives it by everything in the back. It is far enough in to sit 3 for now. The double on the top 2 yellows should go between the blues now, though.
Well, it's still in the way a bit. You gotta be conscious of it.
Yeah, I mean, if you
Pretty thin though.
Too close to the nose and hit the secco and real thin, there is the possibility. Yeah, mind you, if you did that, you'd probably be leaving your shooter up front, which is not a bad spot. Yuhan is the third for the Wang foursome. Boy, this is a long ways out. I don't know if she's got enough to remove it. Just jams it into the stone. Shooter comes across, kills one of her own.
And the yellows back where they were 4 shots ago.
Yeah, it's still probably slightly better situation for Wang because at least the yellow at the top of the 4-foot's fully out in the open for now.
Yeah, I agree, Shawn.
There's a double there if you don't throw. Now, you never can convince the other team to not throw, but because there's a double there, it influences her call, right? She wants to get a third one in there, but how do you get a third one in there and not leave a triple? Is there any way you can leave the double? And that's what they're looking at right now.
Yeah. It's really precise, maybe a bit risky, but you could try tapping your top 4 yellow all the way to the back 4, even back 8, and try to roll to a Christmas tree. That'd be an awesome result, but that's it's pretty risky if you over curl or even under curl and tap it sideways.
Or under throw it and leave a triple.
Yep. A lot can go wrong with that.
I think they've opted for just straight come around the guard. Sit your 3.
No,
She's going to have a double, but I don't think she's going to have a triple if they're even with that stone in the 8-footer. Even a little above it is probably better. Big shot here for Sasaki. Big end here for the Sasaki team after that unintentional single in the first. It's such a big momentum swing if you can turn around and put up a crooked number in the second. This is going to need to curl. She's still on the wrong side of that Yellowstone. This is going to leave a triple. Well, it's a tough triple because she put it right to the corner of the stone in the 4-foot. But it's probably there if you go 3/4 to thick half, somewhere in that neighborhood. These rocks are lively. You smash it pretty hard, it'll spin out.
It's really close, yeah.
You could almost play the port and just play the double and roll behind the guard. Now, they haven't looked at that, and you'd love to get all 3 of them out, so they're probably not going to, but it's probably there.
Just one more quick look at it. Do you think that yellow top button goes over the top of the blue? Or does that ever come close to kissing the blue?
They're so close together right now. I think it's going to go over the top.
Yeah, I think so too. Because there's only one way to find out.
Just throw it hard and hit it right.
Yep.
They're on the brush right away. Backed away now. She might be a little thin on this. Yeah, they overswept that a little bit.
Wow, I didn't think it was possible to dead stuff it like that. I thought one of the yellows was going to spring for sure.
That's
a tough break.
Always possible to dead stuff one. I've done it by accident many times.
Fair enough, yeah. Well, now you can get a super Christmas tree here.
Yeah.
3 rocks to just bite that center line. It's looking really good.
Well, and even if you didn't right now, like if they had to play the double on the yellows, it's nose hit double, and it's close to jamming on that blue one.
Yeah.
bury this one, though, and I'm not sure how they don't give you, like, half bury. I'm not sure how they don't give you a shot for 3.
At that point, you almost slash the blue in and see if you can get 2 of the yellows out.
Well,
It's a long
but if
one.
it's a long one. If you don't make contact, it's 4.
Yep.
Rui Wang with her first, and this is a long ways out as well. This is not going to get to the side that they needed to be on.
There ever triple if you clip the furthest left yellow first?
I was thinking the other way. If she hits the one that was just thrown first, and then into the side of the one on the center line.
I don't know if you can get it all the way out. I'd say at least out of the 8 foot, but that would be good enough.
Yeah, because your shooter's going to stay right there if you hit it that way.
Yeah.
The problem with hitting the other one first is you're spinning all the way out.
Yep, and you've already lost some momentum, and now you got to hit 2 more rocks.
Well, and I'm not sure coming from that direction that it touches the second yellow because it'll drag a bit.
Yep.
Or I guess that would be the third yellow by that point in time. Here's the other bit of bad news on that. If it doesn't touch that third yellow, is it headed towards the blue at the back?
It might clip it.
She's close to the way I had it drawn up. Needs to curl a little bit more. Does get the double.
Well, that's the main job.
Yeah. Still for Iri Ogihara, a chance to stay right there. She can pick up a deuce here and take the lead after 2 ends of play. Maybe not quite as crooked a number as she was looking for, but still a crooked number, and it's still always nice to get this after that slight miscue in the first end, those unintentional singles. These ones always seem to hurt just a little bit more.
For sure, and I still feel bad about saying the whole first end was building up to that blank. I might have jinxed her a bit there. It is what it is, I guess. I'll make sure to return the favor later in the game.
Ogihara with the hit stays right there. She'll pick up 2. It's a 2-1 lead after 2 ends of play. Wang will have last rock in the third.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, Bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
This is always nice. They've waited for us here to start the third end.
Perfect timing.
Gives me a chance to run through all the names and, again, apologize for all the ones I mispronounced. The lead here for the Sasaki team is Yako Matsuzawa. Miki Hayashi is the second. Honoka Sasaki skips the game but throws the third stones, and the fourth thrower for this team is Iri Ogihara. And they're out of Kitami, Japan. And I always check to see where both teams are from before I start saying that, because sometimes I have trouble pronouncing the second name. But Rui Wang's team out of Beijing, China, this is the lead. Ying Yang. Ziki Dong is the second. The third is Yu Han, and Rui Wang in the house skips the game and throws the fourth stones. And after an open first end, it looks like we're going to have rocks in play in the third, because they're throwing the corner guard here.
Yep, it's time to get down to business.
It is still pretty rare that you see both teams throwing guards in the same end. Usually, if you know the other team's going to throw the corner, you'll throw the first one in. It's only 1 point separating the teams. She probably didn't expect a corner guard there, I'm thinking.
Right, yep. Because it's a little bit easier to get that first one in there and then guard it up than try to play a more precise come around. So that makes sense to me.
Sometimes we need a GoPro camera on the sweepers. I don't know how that got by the guard.
Yep.
I was sure it was rubbing, but there's no way that could have rubbed because it's over buried.
That's some good sweeping there. It's not something I can do, that's for sure.
If my team didn't need something to aim at, they wouldn't even let me have a broom.
Oh, yeah.
Looking to come around their own corner guard. They're going to have nice line, and it's all right to be a little deep when you're coming around your own corners. Give yourself room to come in there twice, but did that curl far enough to make a play on it on the outside?
I think it did. Those shots are always scary because you wreck on the guard.
Yeah, we're still
going right towards the yellow.
Well, and it's still
or even just straight in there.
It's still just the fifth stone of the end too. So if you clip the guard and kill it, it goes back.
Yep. Yeah, you want to play this with decent amount of weight and I guess err on the side of going wide instead of raising that blue on chipping it sideways. But you want to go for it, make the shot. Oh no. Oh. I got to stop talking. My apologies. I am Ryan Jacques signing off for the night. That's unfortunate.
I don't know if the announcer's jinx is a real thing, but
seems to be.
I've been accused of it many times, so. It's interesting because by pushing that into where it's just biting the 12-foot, it actually gives Wang a chance to play a defensive shot while she's still on offense. She's already got 2 rocks in the ring, so she could do something about that center guard, maybe get both yellows, which you'd think about as a defensive shot, but she's already sitting second and third, and actually it's set up that she could roll over and guard one of her own stones as well. She can get a lot out of this. She's close. Oh, it's going over curl. Dead stuffs it on the stone in the 12-foot, so blue stone belonging to Wang.
Was not my fault. So.
No.
I have been exonerated.
Shot stone open on the corner. They're making a play on it. They'd like to stay here. It does come up nicely to the nose at the end. So sitting 2. She signaled both the nose hit and the roll over. I'm not sure which the final call is, but I don't think you want to roll in there yet.
Yeah,
For
it's
Rui
pretty
Wang,
early in the end.
well, and she's got last rock. By the time you roll over there from where this is now, you're going to be behind the tee line. If you could nose this and exchange 2 more nose hits, then if you roll in, you're probably in the top 4. And there's 1 nose hit. Now you just have to convince your opposition not to make the roll. It is a tough roll. I mean, it's 4 feet to get behind. And that's just the tight blue, which would be a short run back. You'd like to get probably to the other side of the 4 foot. It's a 5 foot roll. There's a reason why you don't see those made as often. That's a tough shot.
It sure is. I like to say it's a lot easier to draw to a spot that you want to get to than to hit and roll there.
Yeah, and the longer the roll is, the harder it is, because it's one thing to get a 1 foot roll where you can throw a hack weight, a bumper weight, and use your brushers to control the line. It's hard to make a roll that long with those kinds of control weights. You have to throw at least a controlled hit, if not a normal, to get the roll that far. And it's harder to influence the line as much with the sweepers with that weight.
For sure.
Here we go. We got the back-to-back nose hits. Now you got the chance to roll behind. And for Wang, she doesn't really need to get all the way across. If she rolls behind that stone that's just biting a 12 foot, that's her own rock. She'd probably still like to get across.
Yeah, it's always nice to have multiple rocks to roll behind, a little bit more
Yep.
margin to help. Because, as we said, the hit and roll is no easy task. And this one seems to be rolling the other direction.
Yeah, they come up a little bit at the end, but it's not going to come up enough to roll towards the middle for sure. Not going to hold the rings at all. She's looking at coming around the opposition stone at the top of the 12 foot. That would be very aggressive.
It would be. I'm partial for the nose hit here.
Yeah, I think she read your mind.
Like you'd love to get, well, even if you make it really good, they've still got a run back on it. So
yeah, and all
keeping
these
it
teams,
simple like this.
all these teams so good at the run backs. If you're going to be in front of the tee line, it's probably about a 5 foot at max, and maybe shorter. You kind of expect them to make that. She'd like to hit this right on the nose. She's going to be close.
Yeah, this looks real nice.
You try to hit that
Shawn,
on the...
why wouldn't she want to roll into the house on that one?
Well, that's the easiest way for Wang to get in right now, is to come around that, and it's the opposite of what we just said, right? If Wang had to go around that yellow, it's a short run back for Ojihara on her first stone. So it's interesting, because you see Wang's first thought was to try to come around the 2 rocks, so she's got to come around one in the 12 foot, and that's a tougher shot. The hack end likes the run back. This is a good shot too. It's just she's going to have a hard time not leaving this blue where it can be removed.
And definitely want to make sure you stick here. Don't give Sasaki a chance to come around. Maybe even play the split if they really want to avoid the blank.
Yeah, I don't know if she's hitting the yellow one at all.
Nope.
Interesting. We can't hear the players. We don't have mics on them, and even if we could, we probably wouldn't understand. But they're looking to keep this one up high in the house, and I have to think part of the consideration there is the closer you get to the tee line as you bury this stone, you actually make the double easier using the stone in the 12-foot. So that whole discussion was about just how deep do we want to make this. You'd love to catch a piece of the bite of the button just to make the steel look a little bit more likely, but the deeper you come, the better the chance, the better the angle for Wang to make the double on the 2 in the rings. Both brushers down early.
And that's not usually a good sign. You want to save your energy for the end of the shot, and you're trying to pull it just a little bit further. But it's hard to go all out on a shot. It's like 25 seconds or so when you let go to when it stops. So it's quite a bit of exertion. They did a good job there. Almost too far.
Yeah, and took some of the curl out of it by bringing it that far back, which actually might help them a little bit. It makes the angle on the double a little tougher. She's looking at the run back. You make the run back, you're probably still forced. But you should roll off that center line, and at least you should have a decent shot available for your last one. If you play the double and miss it, you're going to have to draw to the side of the button.
Yeah, this is a big shot, and I think it's the way to go. Just make sure you get your one here. Keep it functionally tied. Down one with hammer, you're basically tied. Assume you can get that single point. So, but going down 2, and you got the advantage.
This is curling.
I get it the other way.
Yeah.
But you left that blue there.
Yeah.
Just threw it. So they're going to put this one in a good spot.
Well, and then you're going to have a decision to make if she does, because the double is probably there for the blank. But if you don't make contact with the second stone, it's a steal.
If she makes this really good in there, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah, she might have to. Like if she puts this in the same spot as she just had it, I don't know if there's a shot to score ones, so you might have to play the double.
You could run the blue straight back, of course, but it's a long one. If you're playing a tough shot already, you might as well go for the
I think the yellow onto it's probably just as easier, and you're not giving up 2 if you miss it.
Exactly.
They were on the first one all the way down. They haven't touched this one at all, but they are close. It's a long ways out there yet. Now, if you slide this deep, what does that change? Changes a lot if it doesn't stop.
It sure would.
Oh, wow. Just hung onto the back of the 12.
That's
interesting. Enough to get the force. Rui Wang took the unintentional single in the first. She needs the single here. Tie things up as well as stop the possible disaster. Just a little bit better than full 12. She'll score 1, but I'm not. It'd be very tough to give up a steal of 1 here. She's either getting 1 or she's giving up 2.
Pretty much. She's going to be real close on this.
Line's good early. The sweepers will keep an eye on this. When it starts to slow down, it will move hard. Line looks nice as it comes into top of the house.
That's a good shot.
Rui Wang
nice to have to draw it in your back pocket like that.
Pulls it right into the corner of the button. And, of course, buries it on last rock. But picks up her single. We're all tied 2 apiece after 3 ends of play. It'll be Sasaki with last rock in the 4th.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Saskatchewan, you know SaskTel because we're everywhere. Because being everywhere keeps us connected to you. With SaskTel sponsorships, we get to be part of your community. We're here with you, and we're here for you. It's easy to get started. All you need to do is apply. SaskTel cares. Always has, always will. To apply for sponsorship, visit sastel.com/sponsorships.
To all as we begin play here in the fourth end. Shawn, Joyce, Ryan, Jacques with you from the Prestige Hotels and Resorts Curling Classic. Curling Stadium Vernon. A lot of action going on the Curling Stadium Network this weekend. We've got
sure is.
Men and women here in Vernon and doubles event on in Martinsville. You can catch all of the action, all of the games, live streaming all weekend long. There will be commentary available on selected feature games.
Yeah, we even got the action going all the way to Monday here in Vernon. So we got lots of curling for you.
Center guard thrown up to start this end, and they had to have a quick peek to see whether or not that touched the center line. That's the if you're going back and forth watching both events, as some of us are, that's the difference in the four-player. One of the major ones right now, anyway, between the doubles and the four-player is the no tick zone on that center line, and I think they decided it was on the line. It's tough to tell from the camera angle. It's close.
Well, there's an easy solution. Just don't run into it.
Yeah.
Make the come around.
I'm actually almost surprised she's playing the come around. A lot of teams with last rock in the even end would be thinking about trying to score, and that center guard by itself isn't guarding anything on this ice. There's so much curl.
That presents another problem too, being so high up. Putting up a corner guard, probably not on the right side, but on the left side, it can kind of get in the way, or at least visually look bad.
Yeah.
Under the wing.
Yeah, you'd probably limit which turn you could get to, but
I think there's room on the right side of the sheet there. As we look at the away view here, or the home end.
Well, let's say it would be on the OK side of the OK Tire logo.
Yes, there you go.
I've talked before about how I love the everything that's been done with the printed rings. This is a nice one with the tile floor look in the 8-foot. But the logos, and it's really interesting to me also how it's just the way I just used it. It's made it into the lexicon. You watch the Brier and the Scotties and the Worlds, and teams are using those logos in the ice as landmarks when they're calling down to the other end to tell them this is where we need it to be. You know, it's worked its way in, so it's that much of a factor now, and it's pretty cool to see. It's got to be good for the sponsors that way. They get not just their visual logo on the ice, but they have the players announcing it, using it for a landmark. Another chance for the come around with the two center guards. Has to be at top of the 4-foot this time. Does not want to be deep. Oh, this is a beautiful looking shot coming in.
Yeah, are we sure the score is tied here? This is looking like an extra end.
It does kind of look like they started out for hard steel. I'm not sure that they got either of those two guards, or at least the first one where they wanted it. The first one's really long.
Yeah, and the first one being that long kind of forced them, I think, into
forced them to play the
guard,
second
so you have
one,
something to work with, right? Like you said, it's so long. There's so much curl on this ice. It's not really doing a whole lot. You can always chase around a long guard here.
And then on the other side of the coin, while you're busy throwing guards, the other team has clogged up the forefoot, and you've got some work to do to even get back to a force, much less a steal.
Absolutely.
And this is coming hard towards the guard. She'll be by the first one. I don't know about the second one. Oh, good job by the brushers.
More good sweeping. Wow, yeah.
And a great result, too, because she managed to tap one behind the tee line and pop the other one out into the open. Even get back to a force, much less a steal.
Absolutely.
And this is coming hard towards the guard. She'll be by the first one. I don't know about the second one. Oh, good job by the brushers.
More good sweeping. Wow, yeah.
I don't know if she gets by the second one. Sasaki still sitting two, asking Miki Hayashi to hit and roll in behind cover. The problem here with this stone is even if she makes the roll behind cover, her shooter's going to be no better than third, and there's access to at least one of the other stones. She didn't get the roll behind cover, just a sliver under. There you see Wang can see shot rock, make a play on it, and try to get rolled over towards the...
Yeah, and kind of sandwiched in between those yellows.
Yeah, she's talking about just rolling under the blue. I think you'd want to be right dead in between the two yellows would be the ideal spot. Or maybe she was just... Again, we can't hear them, and even if we could, we wouldn't understand them. Maybe just communicating to the team, we can't just roll here. It sets up the short run. We've got to roll in behind the yellow. Can't throw a lot of weight at this. She could only just barely see the inside of that rock, and she's going to need to roll a foot. So they've got to get some finish by the guard. Maybe hack weight at the most. They might not even be trying to remove this. Just chisel off of it.
It's getting dangerous if you're going to leave that hanging in the back of the house. Lonely blue in there after this shot, if that's the case.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is getting by the guard.
No. I think you wanted to at least, that was just light, I think. You wanted to at least have backline weight.
Yeah.
And that was just a straight draw to the top of the 8 foot, really. The stone she raised in ended up in an interesting spot because the blue-yellow at the top angles into shot stone. I don't think you're ever getting more than two of them that way, though.
Yeah, it kind of worked out there. I feel like
it could have been worse. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And she still kind of has to play on the other side. You can't just leave the direct path to shot rock, so...
Yeah, you got to block that up. And if you put one top four, well, that yellow is going again straight towards.
Yeah, that's true. You could end up leaving it where it's angled to get three of them out.
Yeah, I don't see much else here.
On the brush early here. Looks to have room by the guard. Oh, line's coming nice. She'd like to get to the inside corner of that shot stone. Oh, I'm not sure I would have stopped sweeping.
Yeah. That's queued up.
I'd have liked to lift them in the line where they were just going to dead jam, and now it's... Well, they're going to play the run on the guard first, I think. I'm almost disappointed, not because I mind the shot call. It's just I'm really curious to see how many fly if you play that shot.
Yep.
On the other side. Like it's kind of cute where you might be able to get three one way or the other. whether the stone at the top of the forefoot clips the one on the top of the button or a foot off the center line. It's technically, I guess, a corner guard. It's not very far onto the corner, but you could play your end around that and still know you were always going to have the button to get your extra point.
Exactly. I'd have to agree. That's the definition I'd go by. Yeah.
She's going to throw the traditional corner. Looks like they're not going to try to, we call it the peel of shame here. I don't know what you'd call it, but
pretty much.
And I wouldn't have expected them necessarily to play it in the fifth. It's a little early for that yet, so try to use it.
Maybe if they were up 4. But...
If it was the 7th end, for sure. Even maybe in the 6th. Probably not in the even end.
But their plan with the 5 rock rule was probably going to be top 4, top 8, and then a guard anyways. So
yeah, this wasn't the plan.
No. If you're going to throw it through, you'd like to at least get rid of that other yellow too.
Well, we've had a couple of ends so far in this game where the Wang team was getting in trouble early in the ends. This is a chance for them to actually put some pressure on early in this 5th and see if they can't generate a deuce of their own, at least, and get back in this game. Even through the first 3 ends with the score being tied, you kind of had the feeling that the Sasaki team was the stronger team so far in this game. The score was tied, but it seemed like they had better opportunities and made more shots. So this is kind of your first chance to really turn things around if you're the Wang team, and a little short on the come around. It is a double corner on the same side. That's still not a bad result, as long as you get a chance to use it. Miki Hayashi will look to come around that stone just off the center line. And again, a lot of room by the guard. And a lot of room by the guard means it is just that little bit strong. Comes to the back 8 foot again. So here's your chance to use the corners. You won't be shot rock if you get buried here, but it's a tough rock for the Sasaki team to do anything about with double corners up.
Oh, looks like we got our commentator pal Dave Schmel listening from San Francisco. He's got a spiel there this weekend. So, hello to you, Dave. I know it's pretty late if you were on the East Coast, but you're in San Francisco, so no problem. You're allowed to watch this one. And thanks to all our viewers for tuning in. We've got some exciting coverage tonight and the next couple days as well.
Well, suddenly out of the blue here in the 5th end, we've got both teams struggling with draw weight. That one's all the way through the back. Sasaki ran out to play the peel on the corner guard, and they're trying to talk her out of it from the other end. I didn't mind the peel. If you're gonna call this, you got to make it.
Yep. I always say to myself, when in doubt, peel it out.
Yeah. Well, the setup in the house isn't great for a steal anyway. The guard's not on the center line. You've already got one at the back of the 8 foot that can be frozen to. She gestured there like they would even try to overcurl the guard. You overcurl the guard in the front of the house, they play a hit and roll behind the corners. You have to dead bury this and just bite the top four.
Well, I guess the 1+ for this shot at least is just through it, so it should be very close to making this real nice on the top four.
It's going to overcurl, I think.
Yep. Now that rolls there, like you said.
Looks like Wang's looking at playing it with quieter weight, just try to keep the shooter in that same neighborhood and maybe tap to a pocket. Well, now she's looking at the roll. I like the roll better. It's safer. You don't want to let that 4-foot area get too congested. Even if you don't bury, you just make the roll over towards the corner and towards those corner guards. And it's a rock that, how does Sasaki really ignore it? So if she's got to play it, you're going to have a chance to make an offensive play with your next shot. Well, not going to get the roll. Does clip that stone at the back of the 4-foot. So it's now full back 8. She's shot at the top of the 8. Sasaki looking at the roll undercover.
It's not too bad. Caught in between a little bit. It might have been nice to get the double take out there.
Yeah, I would have liked
to
get
and then you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, I would have just liked to get away from the center line. Like, she's going to play this rock anyway, but you're letting her keep the play in the middle. If you roll to the edge of the 8-foot, forget about hitting the rock at the back. Roll to the edge of the 8-foot. She hits it. Now you can play an offensive shot with your next one. She rolls undercover here. You're still in some trouble. Boy, this is close. Makes the hit, might roll too far. So it is out from behind cover. Sasaki sitting 2, and Wang quickly decides, well, if we're going to get forced, we may as well try to get forced to 2 here. They're going to come around that yellow guard. It does kind of take away your double corners. You come around them now, you're still third shot, and it's hard to deal with those other 2 yellows. So you probably have to come around the middle now.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. You got to be wary of that in-off, though, on the side yellow. They could play that if you leave it top 4 here.
Yeah.
So another dimension to worry about.
If you wanted to get back to the possible blank situation, you could try to roll behind the guard off that yellow, too.
Yeah, that could be a good call. Like I said earlier, I'd rather typically draw to a spot than hit and roll, but hit and roll does have the added bonus of removing a rock, killing 2 stones with 1 throw, sort of thing. 2 birds with 1 stone.
Nice draw there by Yuhan, and decision time for Sasaki.
Yeah, it's a pretty good spot.
She could probably get to it with the intern. The question is, can she get to enough of the face of it to get it by the back one? You could freeze to it.
But you got to be careful with the freeze. That yellow in-off is eyeing the stick right there and maybe set it for a 3 ball.
They're looking at the run back.
You know what? Don't mind that, because you throw a peel weight at this. If you miss the blue, basically you should roll, unless you get really unlucky, you should roll out of the way. So.
Yeah, and with those 2 Yellowstones sitting around the 8-foot, it's going to be tough for Wang to bring a second one in where there's not going to be a double available. A little bit back on the release that time. She's got the straight peel all the way.
With 2 yellows in the full 8-foot, there's not a whole lot of room for Wang to separate the rocks here. Sasaki still has 2 chances to get a double takeout and force.
She's looking at a freeze on the back, which great result if you can make it, but how do you get there? The corner guard's almost in the way.
Good question. Yeah.
It's probably not in the way, but it's definitely going to be in your eye when you're throwing.
I think they're looking at the guard too, potentially. And the corner freeze there.
Guard is so tough. When it swings this much to get a guard on an existing rock, I mean, if you're a foot too heavy, you probably over curl by 3 inches.
Yeah. So, guard, when you're throwing a guard, it feels like you're just lobbing it in there because, there's no house. You don't have a specific spot that you can reference, but you got to be precise on those nonetheless.
They do. When these rocks curl as much as they do, so they've put the broom down for, say, a guard 4 feet in front of the house. Well, if you throw it high, if you're 10 feet short of the house, it hasn't had enough time to curl. If you're a little too tight, it will over curl. With these aggressive rocks, these guards on an existing stone, it's not just a lob it over and it'll be in the right line. You have to match the weight to what was called. Good job with the throw and pretty good job with the management on that too, although did it over curl a little bit at the end? I think she's got a piece on the outturn side now.
And you don't have to move it very far, so I think you definitely got enough on this one.
Well, and there's no jam on this side. Like she had a piece on the intern side the last time, but she had to get to the nose or she jams it on the back yellow. There's no jam playing from the outturn.
Well, on the plus side for Wang, it is in a bit of a new spot here. So not a ton of throws with this intermediate weight we've seen here. So maybe a bit of a guess on the broom, but they should be pretty close here.
Fourth rock thrower, Iri Ogihara. Both brushers down, try to get by the guard. If she's by the guard, she's got a great one. She's by the guard. And when she gets by the guard that tight, she actually gets awfully close to the nose, and she's still half behind cover. Both brushers down, try to get by the guard. If she's by the guard, she's got a great one. She's by the guard. And when she gets by the guard that tight, she's coming by that guard. But the bonus is when you get by the guard that tight, they leave themselves half behind cover, and that continues to leave the pressure on Rui Wang. She's got to move that Yellowstone, and she really doesn't want to roll out into the open.
No, if they can make a nice chase like that, they're not going to miss an open hit.
Yeah. She might have to throw just a little less weight than what she just saw. Try to tap it back only about a foot and a half and stay in front of it. And, now we're getting into a really precise shot. Cleaning on the inside early. This has got more line than Ogihara had. Now sweeping for a little extra curl. She's got the tap. Moves it onto the blue at the back, and she is shot rock. Probably a little more than half open now.
I think they were hoping to either get a little more undercover or tap the yellow just to the full back 8. So there's some backing there for the blue rock, but still going to make Sasaki shoot for it here.
Yeah, she could try to get to that same piece, the nose. Even if she jams it on the yellow at the back, she'd be sitting 3. If you clear the yellow at the back, I think you're rolling fully open. And probably in deep enough that she'd be able to play the nose hit for her single. Well, it'll be interesting if she could make the exact same shot and sit right there. I don't think Wang could come down to the back one and be shot rock, so it still would have to be a cold draw, I think. Tight by the guard on her first one. She's got plenty of room this time. She'll clear the back one and make the big roll to the other side of the 8-foot. Sits
Very
4
nice.
and pretty risky to hit any of them, so she's going to play the straight draw. Nice thing for Wang, this is a comfortable path to draw down. It's that draw to the button path that gets played so much. They know the line here. And it's not just a line call for the thrower and the broom holder. You play this shot so much that the sweepers actually become very comfortable judging the weight on it. They've seen so many rocks down this path. They know exactly what it's going to do.
Totally.
Just cleaning it early. They know when it starts to curl, the weight's going to come off.
Very nice shot under pressure.
Cleaning it in, gets a piece of the button. It's another single point for Rui Wang. She now trails by a score of 5-3 after 5 ends of play. Honoka Sasaki with last rock when we come back for the 6th.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline, join the revolution.
Don't forget your brooms.
You got it.
Come on up. Okay, well, what do you got? You got 1, you got 2, you got...
Just one more throw, please.
You make moments like these possible.
Shawn, Joyce, Ryan, Jacques, 6th end action here. Prestige Hotels and Resorts Curling Classic. This is the women's division on Curling Stadium, Vernon. The Honoka Sasaki rink has had a very strong game. Start to finish through these first 5 ends. They need to keep it through the last 3, but they've got a 2-point lead and last rock as we begin play here in the 6th. And that first stone, the attempt at the center guard, has slid into the rings.
Yeah, it's hate to see that on the first one when you're trying to generate some offense, and that's not going to help. Oh, this one's out there. Oh, it's coming back.
Yeah, they might have liked to hold it on the corner, but rolling out won't hurt their feelings too much. I don't think they were going to talk Rui Wang into playing a hit on it anyway. I think she's throwing the center guard here no matter what. Scoreboard kind of dictates you have to.
For sure. A steal would go a long way here in the sixth end. You force them to 1 and 7, get your deuce, and steal the extra. Or you could just steal all the way to victory.
Well,
Whatever
even the force here, they wouldn't have been able to hit that stone in the rings, I don't think, because then you're probably headed to a blank, and a blank here is definitely not on the playbook for Rui Wang.
Yep.
Nice guard with the second attempt. Yaku Matsuzawa will look to come around it now. Both brushes were down early, but now just brushing from the outside, looking for some curl. And once it starts to curl, they swing around and both trying to hold it straight. Shot rock sitting in the top of the 8-foot. They might have liked to get that a little bit deeper. Wang probably has to try to come around it. Which, you could do on this ice, but I don't think freezing to it at this point in time is any good for her. You know they're going to peel the guard on the next one. You need to get a rock into a position that you can guard it for the rest of the end and hope you've got a chance to steal, I think. Plenty of room by the guard, but it's got to get by that yellow at the top of the 8-foot too. Oh, she's got nice line. Wow. That's coming around a stone at the top of the 8-foot, and she's still in front of the tee line, buried. I thought they were going to have to come to the back 4. Plenty of room by the guard, but it's got to get by that yellow at the top of the 8-foot too. Oh, she's got nice line. Wow. Bury there. I still thought she'd have to come to the back of the button to bury that, which is fine for Wang in this situation. She's got to play where she's got to play because you knew that peel was coming. You could guard this for the rest of the end now and try to steal. That's a good enough rock to try to steal with. Now the trick is to get, how many rocks have we got left? 5 good guards up. Can't throw all 5 of them at once, so it's one at a time. Ziki Dong has the first chance. She made the nice come around on her first. We'll see if she can guard it up here, and nothing out of the brushers yet. Sweeping for curl now.
Well, you got to cover at least half here.
I think that's pretty good, and covered the right piece of the yellow because there's still a piece of that blue sticking out behind the yellow.
Yeah. I think later in the end, they might try to chase yellow onto blue, but for now, they're going to bide their time. The old cat and mouse, as we've seen many a times.
This is a play the run back, and if you don't get the run back, peel the guard type shot. The rock hadn't even cleared the side. Rui Wang's already got the broom down to play the guard again.
wasting no time there. I know they're not on time clocks, but it's nice to have a bit of a flow going. It keeps you in the zone.
Well, there's not really much for them to think about here either. Like, they've got a stone in a position they can steal with if they can protect it for 4 more shots. And you know that the Sasaki team, if you get the guards too tight, they're going to try the run backs again. If you're too long, they can go after the shot rock. So just line everything up the best you can and hope you have a chance to steal this end. At the worst, you'd like a force here. That one's a little better lined up to the yellow. They could still make a direct play on shot rock, try to pick it out, but then you'd leave the double centers to come around. The nice thing about getting these two lined up is it's a little tougher to clear everything. If you make the run back, your shooter's probably staying near the center line. And if you're killing the one at the top of the 4-foot, the rock you're running in is probably staying in the rings. Honoka Sasaki throws the third stones. Looking for the run back again. She's close.
Oh! That's a bad break.
It depends which team you're playing for. That's kind of as you play those guard after guard after guard, that's kind of what Rui Wang was hoping for at some point in time, because that Yellowstone was the one that potentially could still have given her headaches. It's gone now. The center guard's still there.
And that's a pretty precise draw for the single.
Probably still looking for some separation here. I expect they'll probably still play the run back, but if it stays to this situation right to the end, you could even freeze to the face of your own with the last one, and it might not be just a steal of 1. Got to get this lined up though. They got it pretty good.
I think that will fit the bill.
Yeah. She'll play 2 more run backs. Unless she can get everything on this one, which, I mean, it's there.
Certainly could, yep.